Hey, what's up everyone? Mike here, and this is part 2 of our Q&A from yesterday. I did this episode solely for one question because I knew it would take a while to answer, and I wanted to make sure it was answered thoroughly. So please continue to leave your questions in the comments below. Wick asks, how did you start? Was it something that happened little by little, or was it something you invested a certain amount of money in? Before I answer the question, I want to touch a little bit on my background. When I was a kid, I already knew I was an entrepreneur. It was the first thing that I always talked about and cared about. When I was in middle school, I walked around with a suitcase full of candy and sold it to kids after I bought giant bags of it at the dollar store. When I was a teenager, I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! I used to duel people for cards, win the cards, and then sell them around the school. And it just continued my whole life. My whole ambition, my entire life, is to be a business owner. It always has been. And it's really my passion in life. It's the only thing I could sit down and read about and watch, movies about and do things about that I truly actually enjoy. So for me, it's what I want to do. No matter what kind of business it is, I have to make it work because that's what I really want out of life. I remember being a teenager and all I would ever talk to my dad about is, how to make money off of stuff or finances or profit or starting a business. That's all I ever cared about. And to this day, it's what I truly, truly enjoy and care about. That's why I help people do it, because I like helping others do the same thing. I understand that everyone is not an entrepreneur from the get-go. They do not have the same grasp that I have on things, simply because it's either something you have or you don't. I think a good quote from Gary Vaynerchuk was, if you ask if you're an entrepreneur, then you are not, because it's very true in the sense that you know you're an entrepreneur. You're born that way. Like, that's all you care about. You want to make a profit. You want to turn things. You want to be better tomorrow than you were today. Like, that's your ambition in life. If you do not have that, then you truly are not an entrepreneur. That's just how it is. That doesn't mean you can't make it in business or whatever, but you have to become that driven to be the best. You really do. So I'm going to start my story from the very beginning of when I started my business. In 2011, I worked at a company called Levy, and they ran all the catering and suites in the Browns Stadium. Now, I worked there for an entire year, and during the winter, after the season's over, you're kind of laid off, I guess you would say. Really, it's a seasonal job. You work like 70 hours during the week throughout the season, and then you get the whole winter off, and really you make a good amount of money. If you save it right, you don't have to work in the winter. So I was off in the winter, and I was doing my eBay thing during the new year. It was like right around tax season, so I was making plenty of money. I was doing well. And I got a letter in the mail which I thought was my final check from Levy from the last season, and basically it read, we lost our contract, you don't have a job, don't bother coming back because we won't be here. So abruptly I lost my job. Now, during that time period, my dad happened to give me his video game collection of some older games he had he didn't want, he wasn't using. They were just sitting around collecting dust. So being in a tight financial spot with no job and having a video game collection, I started to sell it on eBay because I had already sold on eBay in the past different things. When I first started on eBay, I actually sold pocket knives, but I obviously realized there were a lot of risks with selling knives online, and so I wanted to get out of that business really fast. As soon as the video game opportunity arose, I started selling the games right away, and I realized a lot of the games my dad had were selling for more than he originally paid, since I had lived with him at the time he bought them. And I realized you could flip video games. At the time I lost my job, I had about $900 in the bank and my dad's video game collection. I then took the $900 and bought a bunch of video games to flip, and I learned the hard way that I didn't know enough about video games to flip them. So I ended up losing a bunch of money. After about a year, I was basically in a negative balance. After I was struggling financially, I got a job at a restaurant in Cleveland, and I realized that I needed to continue to work a full-time job and build my business slowly. From there, I ended up moving around a couple restaurants. Finally, in 2013, I ended up at Fire Food and Drink, which is a really high-end restaurant in the Shaker area of Ohio, and that's kind of like east side of Cleveland. And I worked my way up there for an entire year, and then I got promoted to head chef at a different restaurant they opened. Now, the problem with that was I basically had to give up my business to be head chef because I didn't have free time. I was working 80 hours a week, and I had no time to run my online business. So I made the choice to sacrifice my business to be head chef, but I only did it for 6 months. I had the plan to save up money and build my business during the Christmas season, and everything played out exactly the way I wanted it to, and now I'm in the exact situation I wanted to be in. But let's backtrack a little bit. 2011, I sold knives, realized it wasn't a good idea, lost my job, got my dad's video game collection, started selling it and flipping video games. This is a long road to learn about video games and learn what I could flip and what I couldn't. I lost an absolute ton of money. I made a bad deal with a web designer and lost $2,000. I had a lot of issues. That's the whole reason I ever started this video series, was so other people didn't make the same mistakes I had made. And from there, for the last 3 years, I literally studied retro video games. I've learned so much about them. I made good deals, I made bad deals. It's been such a great opportunity, and I continue to learn every day. And that's why I truly enjoy this job. And I do think it's sustainable, and I'm concerned that after the holiday season, my sales won't be high enough to sustain. But then I'm like, you know what? I think it's possible. The economy's not doing that bad right now. Lots of people collect video games, and there's lots of opportunity for sale online. I got my own site up, and it's doing well. So from there, I kind of want to build. It wasn't even until the middle of 2012 when I actually registered my business and got all my paperwork and stuff done. I was selling on eBay just as a seller for the longest time. When I actually got my business registered, I used YouTube videos to learn how to do that. So that's when I realized people weren't making good YouTube videos at all. And that's kind of why I jumped in. But this topic kind of gets me going, so I'm sorry if I'm being rambly. But from my standpoint, it's like my business has been back and forth, and I'm officially full-time now, and I'm trying to make it work. If I can make it work, that'll be awesome. If not, then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. But, I really, in my heart, know I can make it work, and I seriously, sincerely cannot work for someone else and make them rich while I'm just making it by, or, making an extra $20,000 a year. To me, that's not what I want. I want every bit of extra income I get to be put back into a business. That way it can grow, and I can have employees that I truly care about and that I pay well, and they get what they deserve, and they don't have to go home worrying about how they're going to pay their bills, or they don't have to go home, not liking their boss. I want to create a business that's sustainable and has great people that truly enjoy their job. I'm so tired of working jobs that I hate, so tired of seeing my family work jobs that they hate. It's a horrible thing, and it's like, no one should have to live through that, no one should have to deal with that. So my ultimate goal, no matter what, is to create a business that's sustainable so I can hire people and make sure they have a good life too, because that's really what I want. I can live on very little income. I don't have a lot of expenses. I'm not a person that lives an extravagant lifestyle. I'm very simple. I like simple things. I like Chipotle for lunch and gummies as snacks. That's, and I'm not even kidding. If you ask anyone that knows me, those two things will make me happier than anyone in the world. I'm not even kidding. And that's just how I am, and that's how I'll always be. No matter how rich I get, the one rule I've always promised myself is that you stay humble no matter what you do. If you're a millionaire in 5 years, then you stay humble. If you're a billionaire in 10 years, you stay humble and you help the people that helped you get there. And that's the way you live. I've met a lot of rich people, unfortunately, and my time as head chef, and I realized, they're not humble, they're assholes. They really are. They're complete utter assholes, and a lot of them didn't earn a damn thing they ever got. And it's truly sickening, and I can't express to you how much it really makes me disgusted. But as I'm saying all this, that doesn't mean all rich people are bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the people that truly did not work for their income and act the way they do disgust me. There are people that worked extremely hard. They deserve everything they ever got, and I'm so happy for them, and I hope I'm one of them one day. I just will have a completely different mindset than most of them, because I truly came from a poor background, and if I'm ever rich, I will appreciate it more than anyone. And something else I learned as my time as a chef was, I was 22 at the time. I became head chef. I'm making around $40,000 a year. For my age and my family, that income is phenomenal. There's no one even near my age that made around that money except my cousin Sarah, who's also very much in the same mindset I am. We're very close, and we tend to think very much alike. And, everyone's like, oh, you're making so much money, you must be doing so well, this, that. You know what, I was making a ton of money, and I had a ton of money in the bank. But guess what, I was the most unhappy I've ever been at any instance in my life. And it made me realize that while money can make you happy, watching someone else, reap all the benefits while you are absolutely busting your ass is the most depressing thing in the world. And I will never ever work 80 hours a week again and be so tired on my days off that I can't do anything to get someone else rich while I'm making not that great amount of money. If there's one thing you should ever do with yourself, it's don't give up your happiness for money. Trust me, it is not worth it. It really isn't. I'm glad I spent 6 months to get ahead, but I'm so glad I didn't continue down that road, because I'd be so depressed and so tired right now. It would never have been worth it. A lot of people don't realize that my business hasn't been a full-time thing mostly. I've worked a lot. That's the reason my videos were never consistent, and that's the reason I wasn't able to keep up with things. I was always so tired, especially if any of you have worked kitchen work. Kitchen work is not easy road at all. It's very difficult. You work every weekend, you know, you work long hours, you work with people with bad attitudes, and it's just very wearing upon your soul. So with that said, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it, and please leave your questions down in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up. Follow me on Twitter and Facebook. I appreciate all the support. I'm going to have a video up Friday of my tour of my new office, and then next Monday we'll do another Q&A. You guys rock. Thank you so much.